I wonder what it's like for people who come to Whistlekick Live. They see me late, they go to bed, they wake up, and they see me here. It's probably only a couple of you, but I wonder what that's like. Do you get tired of me? I get tired of me sometimes. But that's okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, January 6th. What year is it? 2021. My name is Jeremy. And this right here that I'll show you in a minute is my first cup of coffee. I got going late. There was an article that popped up that I really wanted to read. So I started reading. Good morning, Andrew. So last night's episode of Live I thought went really well. I really had a lot of fun with it. Shout out to Gabe, as always, for all of the work he does. Shout out to Frank for the jokes, Matt for the stories, Craig, Leslie, and Ando. That sounds like a Star Wars name. Ando for coming on the show, and to everybody who watched. It'll be available here on YouTube this evening. It's one of the many things I'm doing today is uploading that. I have a fun time with that show. It can be stressful because it's live and it requires a lot of coordination. Good morning, Stacy. And you know what? Honestly, if I didn't have Gabe, if Gabe didn't have my back with it, I don't know what we would do. It's really come a long way. If you think about the progress over the last 18 months, it blows my mind. And I think it's yet another example of how sometimes you just have to start. Sometimes you got to chip away and just see, okay, what's going on? What's there in front of you? Sometimes you just have to train. Sometimes you just have to go for a walk. Sometimes you have to take that first step, whatever that first step might be. And it doesn't mean you know the destination, but you know that where you are isn't a good place to wait. So, yeah. What happened yesterday? What else happened yesterday? Yesterday was a weird day. Yesterday I had my first call at 9. Andrew and I recorded a couple great episodes. Gabe says, thank you, Jeremy, for getting us out of the weeds. We're just going to blame Minicam, which is our main piece of software. Gabe and I sat there. We were both frustrated. Things were not working. It was 5 minutes after we were supposed to start, and I just said, And so we talked about our options, including pulling the plug. And I said, let me just try rebooting my computer. Let's see what happens. And lo and behold, that worked. So, when in doubt, reboot. Back when I had an IT company, I wanted to make bumper stickers in the similar, WWJD instead of what would Jesus do? When in doubt, reboot. Because in the world of technology ownership, it is just as miraculous. So yesterday was just a recording meeting phone call all day. Had my first call at 9 with Andrew after I finished all the Grammarly edits on the novel. I got a couple more things. Here's my expectation. I'll come back to that. Had a call with a client. Recorded an episode. Had another call with a client. Was supposed to have a call with my carpenter. He didn't call me. And then live. So, yeah. Busy. Busy day. I didn't leave the house. I went to the mailbox. As far as I got. But I'm leaving the house today. I'll head out to the gym after my work's done today and probably be there for a couple hours because I just need to not be here. Need to be around people. Not that there are very many people there. Stacy is asking, will the novel be ready for her birthday on the 21st? That's right about the timeline. So let's talk about this novel because this is kind of all-encompassing for me. As I've gone through, so one of the things I was very open about was I voice to texted, dictated, there we go. I dictated quite a bit of the novel. I didn't even take a sip of this. And that was really effective for me getting my thoughts down. I think it flows well because of it. I think some of the dialogue came through really nice because of it, but it also left a ton of typos. Microsoft Word did things like spell the word planned, Planned, as Plandd every time. So there's a lot of weird stuff that I noticed as I went through, and I was taking notes on the things that I had to go back and search for. And so that's today's job, to go through, search for some of those peculiarities. I've fixed a ton of them. Grammarly caught a lot of them, Word caught a lot of them. But I'll go through, find those peculiarities, fix those, and then my goal over the next couple days is to read it and make edits as I read. That's going to take a while. But as soon as that's done, I'll give it to a couple people to read, get their feedback, and then we'll launch it. If we start getting close to that time, Stacy, maybe you'll be one of the people that I ask to read it if you have the time. Because it's a novel. I want it to go out. Yeah, I want it to go out yesterday. I wanted it out for Christmas. But who wants to put out a crummy novel? I want it to be great. It's got my name on it. That matters to me. I don't want people to say, oh, Jeremy, you can do a lot of things, but you clearly can't write a novel. That would be lame. Stacy says, happy to help if I can. Great. I'm proud of it. So what's happening today? I'm gonna work on the book. I have a client call. One that was supposed to be 30 minutes last week and was an hour and 15. I'm gonna remind her today that we've got 30 minutes. My schedule doesn't allow for doing 90-minute calls every week with this client. I love this client, but they don't pay for that. They don't pay that much. I do the finances, which takes on a whole different tone because it's January. There's some stuff I gotta do for year end. I'm switching accountants for tax prep for my personal stuff. My father's stuff's gonna stay with the same one, so there's that whole hullabaloo going on. Although I gotta say, so I've had the same accountant for, this would have been the 21st tax season. No, 20th. This would have been no, we've done 20 years. We've done 20 years together. Great guy. He is a wonderful advocate, someone I trust completely. But I have a client who is a tax prep person who literally wrote Taxes for Dummies for years. And now this client put me on payroll. So I get tax prep for free. And my taxes are not simple because I've got, personal stuff and whistlekick stuff and consulting stuff, a house. Just there's a lot of moving parts. And so it being free is quite the cost savings. And so I've been dreading letting my other accountant, my first accountant, know, hey, I gotta let you go. And I explained it all, and I got an email back in like an hour. It said, you should have done this sooner. This sounds like a better fit. This sounds like this makes more sense. Thank you for your loyalty over the years. Good people understand that when someone takes action, it's not personal. This wasn't personal. I mean, it was personal for me, but it wasn't that he did anything wrong. And honestly, that's something I've had a hard time learning over the years, that when someone does something that negatively impacts me, because this costs him money. My decision literally costs him about $1,500. It's $1,500 he will not get. It sucks. But if clearly what he did is he took a step out of that and realized, Jeremy's not doing this to spite me. He's doing it because of himself. He's making a better decision for him. And yeah, that negatively impacts me, but let's have some grace and some there's cat hair like all through my beard. let's be respectful about it. And that's what he did. And I was just so appreciative. I was really dreading how that was going to go. And so I've been trying to do that more myself. You know, people who don't follow through when they say they're going to, people who could be helpful and choose not to, realizing that it's not about, for them, it's not about me, it's about them. They're making the best decisions for them. And I'm good with that. We've all got to do what's best for us. Yeah, we try to spend some time taking care of the people around us. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of number one, because nobody else will. I spent a lot of time, my childhood, my 20s, believing that if I took good enough care of somebody else, they would take care of me, and that was the right thing to do. It's not. It rarely works that way. When you do that, when you put somebody else first, you're giving them priority to not put you first, or permission. Stacy says he might also have space now for a $2,000 client. Probably had a loyalty discount. Yeah, I did. In fact, he did give me a discount, and it was right on the bill. Yeah, don't be afraid of doors closing, because it gives space for something else. You know, it's something that I talk about with others regularly. You know, I'm fully aware that the things that we do at whistlekick could change. I love doing this show. This show makes sense, but we might reach a point where it doesn't. And if it doesn't, then we'll shut it down and put the resources, the time, etc., into something else. You can't, assuming you have a full life, you can't have a better life without letting go of certain things. A business can't succeed, let me say it differently. A business can't grow doing the same things they've always done. They have to do different things. Sometimes that difference is doing more of one thing and less of another. Lots of variables there. But if you look, there are plenty of examples of businesses saying, I'm not going to do that anymore, we're going to do this. These are things I think about often because of my job, my role, marketing for whistlekick and for clients. And, you know, let's see what you all gave me to talk about. I like when you write stuff in. What do we got? We got Sensei Emmett saying, awesome. That's vague, my friend, but hey, I'll take the compliment. Those of you watching live or even later, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, please, please, please. Help spread the show. I can see a difference in the numbers. When you hit that thumbs up, more people get to see the show. The more people see the show, the more likely they are to subscribe and come back. And the more likely they are to support whistlekick and help us grow and reach our goal of everybody in the world doing martial arts. That's my goal. So I've got stuff here today from Frank and from Stacy. All right. We got 4 Bruce Lee quotes. I'm going to read Frank's Bruce Lee quotes, and then I'm going to read Stacy's a little bit longer quote, which I'm scanning, or 3. I'm sorry, there's 3 of them. 7 quotes. Guys are keeping me busy. All right. Anxiety is the gap between the now and the then. So if you're in the now, you can't be anxious because your excitement flows immediately into ongoing spontaneous activity. Yes. Yes. So true. Anxiety, stress. Good morning, Emmett. Anxiety and stress come from a disconnect between what you want for the future and what is, or what you think may be. Stop looking out so far. If you really want to stress yourself out, think about where you might be when you're 80. Oh, that's exhausting. But now bring it back. Think about what you're doing right now. There's no stress there. It's a lot nicer. Emmett's asking about the book. My hope, Emmett, is by the end of the month. That is my goal. Stacy says, consider the 3 quotes that she wrote in as one if needed. Thank you. Why is coffee so good? It's so good. So good. Next. Each moment that passes changes you. You can't even own yourself. How can you ever hope to own anyone or anything else? You don't own yourself. I guess I can see that. The idea of owning something else or someone else, at best, it's temporary. You know, this mug of coffee. At some point, I'll pass away or break the mug, or you know, if we want to be a little crude about it, the liquid inside, I will have possession of that for a limited time. As a species, we've developed so many defense mechanisms that try to separate us from nature, and it's not possible. We are part of nature. We are just as part of nature as every other species on Earth. We just happen to have language and the ability to make tools. It's the only thing that we do differently. We have a complex language, and we have tools. Complex language allows us to store information by passing it on, first via stories and then via writing. And tools allow us to shape the natural resources of the world into things that we want or need. It's pretty cool. But it doesn't mean that we're not animals. It doesn't mean that we don't follow the same laws and rules that nature places on us. It can be really stressful, combining this with the first quote, it can be really stressful to realize that. I find it liberating. I'm just an animal. You're just an animal. We do animal things. We eat, we sleep, we procreate. But one of the beauties of the internet is you don't have to go far to see all of the behaviors from animals that we think of as being exclusively human. Love, compassion. What was it? I saw somebody post a series of photos on Facebook yesterday that I believe they took. It was a hornet basking in the sun on top of the snow at their home. And a drop of water had collected over the hornet's eye, and they were struggling to get it off. And another hornet came and helped them remove it. At least that was the way the photos were described. That's pretty cool. That doesn't sound like insect behavior. We think of insects as being little robots. They're not. There is at least awareness. And maybe that act wasn't out of compassion. Maybe it was purely hive mentality. Maybe it was, okay, one of the members of our hive is suffering and they can't do their job, so let's help them so they can help the rest of us. Maybe it was that simple. But I don't want to think of it that way. I'm not pretending that a hornet is as aware and intelligent as I am, or even the sleepy cat sitting over the heater over there. But I think there's more to it than we want to let on. Doesn't mean I won't kill them if they come in the house, though. What was I doing? I was moving some stuff around on Sunday, and I found a millipede in my house. Didn't like it. It was in a plant. So I knocked it out into the snow, and I felt bad about it, but not bad enough that I was going to let a millipede live in my house. Be happy, but never satisfied. Probably my life's mantra. I love my life. I love where I am. I love the things that I do. But I am, without a doubt, striving for more. I am not satisfied. I will never be completely satisfied in all areas of my life. I want to be the best version of me, doing the best things to help the most people I possibly can. Oh, Emmett says, great, I'm currently reading a draft of a book by another well-known martial artist and giving feedback, but will soon be looking for new reading material. Ooh, cool. Intriguing. One more for Bruce Lee. To become a champion requires a good mental attitude toward preparation. You have to accept the most tedious task with pleasure. Maybe not necessarily with pleasure, but at least with awareness and acceptance, with an understanding of its value. I may dislike, I don't know. Here's a great example. I cut my hair yesterday. Did you catch that? Wasn't that yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Was it after first cup? I don't know. Time is so blurry. I cut my hair recently. I'm so bored of cutting my hair. It takes minutes, and I put it off for days. Why? Because I've done it before. I don't want to do it again. I can't really do it better. I could do it with more joy. I could do it with more presence. And it's something that I'm working on. Being present is exhausting. That's why we don't do it 24 hours a day. But in preparing, in cutting my hair, I was preparing for live. I didn't want to show up to live with untrimmed hair. Gabe says, I wish I could turn on or off my hair growth. Yes, that would be wonderful. I wish I could cut my fingernails and my toenails once and they would stay like that unless they became damaged and then they would regrow. I wish I could set my hair on my head to just not grow anymore. And then I had like a switch for my beard, because sometimes I like having a beard. I don't know how I'm feeling about this right now. There's a lot of white in it. I just like that. Why didn't I trim my beard yesterday? Because I was going to take more time, and I was busy. All right, let's see what Stacy wrote in. We've got 3 quotes here from Carl Honore. I don't know who this is. Stacy, who is this? We are so marinated in the culture of speed that we almost fail to notice the toll it takes on every aspect of our lives, on our health, our diet, our work, our relationships, the environment, and the community. One of the things I've found myself thinking about is, okay, let's look at the complexity in our lives. How much of that complexity exists to service other elements of the complexity? Let's pretend for a moment that you had a very simple, let's say you had a small, let's say I lived on a very small farm. Okay. Let's say it was 10 acres, somewhere that I could farm and grow enough food for myself. Okay, let's just pretend that for a moment. Would I really need a car? No. I wouldn't need to go anywhere that often. Maybe I could walk. I could ride a bike. Those are free. If I owned the bike. Would I need a job? Well, only to pay the taxes. So what if there weren't taxes? If I'm not going to a job, I don't need a phone. I don't need most of the stuff in my house. I'm not saying that we should go live that way, but it's an interesting mental exercise to realize that a huge amount of what we do and have is in support of other things that we do and have. And they're all interdependent and not necessarily required of us. You think of how things used to be, or tribal communities today. They don't need all this stuff. I find that interesting. I'm not saying I'm going to change it. I'm not saying I'm going to go, live in a yurt or a tree house. I'm not saying I'm gonna, sell all my possessions and become a monk. But when you realize how little you need, the appeal of having all this stuff doesn't hold the same way. Stacy says that this gentleman wrote one of her favorite books ever, In Praise of Slow. Sounds like a book I should read. Andrew asks, what if I got hurt? What if I got hurt? I'd probably get better. The majority of the physical ailments that we endure in modern society are created by modern society. Which is really a bummer when you think about it. It comes from our belief and our disconnect from nature. Next. Your best ideas, those eureka moments that turn the world upside down, seldom come when you're juggling emails, rushing to meet the 5 p.m. deadline, or straining to make your voice heard in a high-stress meeting. They come when you're walking the dog, soaking in the bath, or swinging in a hammock. And this is one of the things that I am trying to get back to. My best creative ideas come when I remove myself from my typical work, when I'm in a different space. Often they come in the car. I used to drive around with a voice recorder and had a lot of great ideas. One of the things that I'm moving to now, I've got I think it's like a 24 pack of pocket-sized notebooks on the way from Amazon. And one of my plans is to schedule time to go sit and think. I come up with some pretty good stuff when I think, so I'm gonna think. Before it exists in the world, it has to exist in the mind. Create opportunity to allow those things to come to life. One more. We used to dial, now we speed dial. We used to read, now we speed read. We used to walk, now we speed walk. And of course, we used to date, now we speed date. And even things that are by their very nature slow, we try and speed them up too. This makes me sad because it's so true. And why do we do that? Because there's so much, because this interdependency of society that we've built requires so many pieces and parts. There's joy in just sitting, if you allow there to be. If you're, I don't have children, but I've heard plenty of times from plenty of people, just watching your kids play. Sitting outside, going for a walk. Some of the simplest things can be the most enjoyable, and they're the first to go. I talked about my day yesterday. I did not leave my house. I did not interact with, I didn't see another person physically at all. It's kind of lonely. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't exercise. I didn't even really move. If we tracked my steps, they probably would have been at, 3,000 for the day. It's not enough. It's not enough movement even for just general health. But I fight to make sure that that's not a routine. I take a look at a day like yesterday and say, how do I make sure that doesn't happen again? And there are changes that are being implemented. I've got sort of a coach to hold me accountable. I'm sure she's going to yell at me today. Hey, what's going on? Why did you work so much yesterday? Because I screwed up. It's not how it was supposed to go. And I'm gonna go. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching or listening. Thanks for your support. If you've got questions, comments, quotes, whatever, throw them in the comment section below once the show closes. I appreciate Stacy and Frank leaving me stuff today. I appreciate all of you watching, hitting that thumbs up button. And that's that. Have a fantastic Wednesday. I will see you back here tomorrow for another episode of First Cup with me. Take care, everybody.